All right. Now that we're done talking with all of those like negative effects of negative representation, we're going to move on to positive effects of positive representation. So I personally have struggled with a few different mental disorders, and I have a very strong feeling that if I had seen it properly represented with like correct symptoms, I would have been able to recognize it earlier. If I had seen somebody getting proper treatment, I could have known that treatment was available, and I wouldn't have suffered so long. I'm personally a big Netflix binger. I watched so many things. If I had even seen just like one correct representation, I feel like that could have helped me a lot, and it would help a lot more people to see this representation.
Anyway, I'm sure most people who are teenagers are familiar with the new Netflix series 13 Reasons Why, which is incredibly inaccurate, is in fact so terrible that before they made the show, they asked experts, how could we do this correctly? The experts said, don't do this, and they did everything they were told not to do. For example, they were told not to actually show suicide on screen because it might glorify it, but no, of course, it was shown on screen despite literal professionals.
I would like to point out as well that they changed the method of suicide from the book to the show to make it more graphic. In the book, she took some pills and went peacefully, but in the show, they graphically show her slitting her own wrist in a bathtub and having her mom shake her dead body.
Yeah, it's meant to be traumatizing and moving, putting air quotes around that, instead of what it really was. It was sad because it was real instead of an overblown dramatization. And though it was sad in the book because she died at all, instead of it being a over dramatization. And as someone who's read the book, the message, though it tries to be treat everyone with compassion because you don't know what they're going through, if a depressed person is reading this, the message turns into, if you methodically blame a bunch of other people for your mental illness, they'll feel bad. If you guilt trip people and manipulate them, they will learn. If you kill yourself and blame other people, they will be the ones that feel the brunt of it. And that's extremely harmful. In fact, there have been accounts of more of suicide rates in high schools going up, and people, in fact, telling each other that, oh, you'd be in my tapes, or you will be in my tapes. And that's extremely harmful. We see like direct suicide spikes because of shows like this.
I know one person in particular whose name I will not mention, who specifically mentioned 13 Reasons Why when explaining to their therapist why they tried to commit suicide very recently. That's a very direct example of this. They mentioned that seeing how they could use their own death, which they already wanted from being suicidal and having mental issues, how they could use what they wanted to do to finally get like the not attention, but the emotional reaction that they had been feeling like they needed and were deprived of. And the fact that this was mainly caused by this show is horrible. I understand what the show was trying to do, but they did it incorrectly, and they really should have listened to those specialists that they consulted.
Furthermore, there's been rumors about a second season of 13 Reasons Why, which further goes to show that they don't particularly care about what experts have to say, because that goes past the book, that goes past what the original message of the author is, into how much money can we make after teen suicide. It's the Heather's worst timeline. The Heathers did a slightly better job portraying suicide than this, and that was a murder comedy where two kids go on a killing spree. Okay, like, that's how bad some of our modern representation has turned, to the point where 80s horror comedies are slightly better. And that's not to say that Heathers is good representation of suicide, because it is very much not. It's just better than 13 Reasons Why. Yeah, and it's not specific to the show. It's definitely a problem with the overall message of the book. That definitely goes into why the manipulation of people is okay. While the book doesn't want to like say it's okay, they don't take any lengths to encourage people who are depressed to actually go for help. And as someone who reads the book as a depressed person, it is hard to shake the notion that if you kill yourself, people will feel bad, and the people you want to feel bad will feel really bad for the way they treated you. That's not a good message for depressed people, and it's not a good message for mentally healthy people either.